afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to maybe our first Indonesian event in Harris, making near Chicago. It's really glad to meet all of you in here. It's not just Indonesian here. I can see some international students also. Thank you for coming. And today, please welcome our guest speaker for today is Ridwan Kamil. Big applause for him. And we happen to know that Ridwan Kamil is, this is the first time he been in Chicago, so welcome Ridwan Kamil in Chicago. I know that the weather is not like this forever. Please come back in summer, it's really good. Yeah. And please welcome also our moderator today, Mr. Ted Fishman. And also I want to thank you for the Consulate General of Republic of Indonesia for giving us support on this event. And also to my friend in PMPSA organization working really hard to make this event happen right now. And thank you for also all of you who can join us today. So to make it not longer in here, so because I got a warning from Patet to make it less ceremonial in here, so I will give Patet so the stage is not for it. Give the applause for all of us.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be here. I'm so delighted to be invited by Indonesian students at the University of Chicago. I live just down the street. I'm a writer. Spent a lot of time in Indonesia. I taught at Gajah, believe it or not, when I was younger than everyone in this room. So that was a long time ago. Thank you, Mr. Governor, for making the trip and for speaking to this group on your first day here after a long flight. I think the first thing we should do is just acknowledge the tragedy that's happened, earthquake here. If you don't mind, I'm going to allow for 60 seconds of silence if we could just bow our heads and think of all the unimaginable loss that's happened. Thank you, everyone. Here we are on the Midway, the beautiful Midway of the University of Chicago. This building might interest you, Governor, because this was a building designed by one of America's most famous architects, Durell Stone, who also designed the Museum of Modern Art. It was completely renovated a few years ago to be a LEED Platinum, zero carbon building, using lots of recycled materials and new technology that made it. Even going into the bathrooms, you'll notice that it's sensitive to some of the gender concerns that are on American campuses today and really respects people's privacy and everything. So I hope you get a chance to enjoy this building. On this strip, there's also buildings by Mies van der Rohe, by Eero Saarinen, and it's really a hall of fame of American architecture, kind of an architecture museum here on this beautiful campus, which, by the way, is the first campus designed in the world to be a campus that did not grow organically from one building to another. And as a planner, you can understand this early Herculean effort to plan this place. You know, we are thinking about loss because of the earthquake in West Java. And in Chicago, we had a terrible, terrible loss in the 19th century, a Great Chicago Fire, in which the entire city burned down except for one building. This was the Great Chicago Fire in 1871. And then one of the things that happened was the city got together and pulled itself into the future from that terrible tragedy. And the symbol of this university is the phoenix, the bird that rises up from the dead, in honor of that fire. And to celebrate the rising of the city, there was a great World's Fair in Chicago called the World's Columbian Exposition. And one of the astonishing things about this fair, which is the greatest World's Fair ever held in my opinion, and maybe is the biggest World's Fair that's ever been held, was that the first Indonesians who came to the United States came for that fair. They came by buggy, by boat, by train, by streetcar, and they got here and they set up an entire Kampung Jawa, which actually was Kampung Jawa Barat, here, right on the midway. You can see the actual ground right from here where this Kampung Jawa was. 165 people from Indonesia who brought every piece of grass, every piece of wood, every mat, every tikar, every puppet, every mask, everything they needed to have a complete Javanese life, West Javanese life, right here to the city of Chicago. And it was the most popular attraction at this great World's Fair. How popular? 1 out of 3 people in the United States went to this fair and saw that and heard gamelan music from West Java. Millions and millions of people. Indonesia was more famous in the United States in the 19th century than it is today. And one thing we can do, all of us together, is we can think about how to resurrect that and give people in Chicago, in the United States, a more up-to-date, more perfect vision of what Indonesia is today. And one of the most perfect ways to understand where Indonesia is today and where it's going is to look at the work of Ridwan Kamil, who was the governor of Bandung and is now the governor. Was the mayor of Bandung and is now the governor of West Java. He is very forward in creating a digital economy, in upgrading the human capital of the region, and has flipped the economics of the region from one where it was trailing other regions in Java to now where it is the leader. And it is the leader because Ridwan Kamil is a great leader. And it's such a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Governor. And I think what we'll do is we'll hear some remarks from you, and then we'll open it up, a very open discussion. This is the University of Chicago, so everyone has sharpened their pencils and sharpened their tongues to ask you difficult questions. And I know from the lunch we had that you're up to answering all of them. It will be a fascinating afternoon. It's all yours.
Thank you, Ted. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me. 16-hour flight from Jakarta to here. I used to live in US for 5 years, but Chicago this is my first time. And I used to work for Chicago firm of architect SOM. I think they designed John Hancock buildings, many great buildings, because Chicago known as a city that invented many high-rises, including the Burj Khalifa. The one in Dubai is designed by Chicago architect. Before I became a mayor, I was a very hyperactive individual. I founded 3 civil society organizations: Bandung Creative City Forum, Indonesian Urban Farming Movement, and many more. I was active also as a TV in televisions and also radio announcer. And I started to become a mayor in 2013. After 5 years as a city mayor of Bandung, 2018 I became a governor. The reason I came to politics is because I was an angry citizen. So that's my motivation. Because back then The news is all about corruption, nobody walked the city, and the main point here was I suggested a design to the mayor back then, but they won't ignore. So I said to myself, okay then, let's take over the city. And they said, but Ridwan, we have to enter the politics and enter the election. So I learned politics because I was angry. But let me start with Indonesia. Indonesia today is 270 million people. Yeah. It's a great economy. 2 weeks ago, successfully had this G20 in Bali. Yeah. And the mood of people today is very optimistic. We are number 16 in G20 group. If our economy is still going strong like today, we could be number 10 in 2030, and we could be number 4 in 2045. Yeah. After China, US, India, could be Indonesia. And the definition of West Java, my province, is the 20% of Indonesia, because I'm responsible to 15 million people, and everything related to population and our economy also more or less representing the 20% of Indonesia. We have several surveys that relates to Indonesia. Number one, this year, Indonesia voted as the most beautiful country in the world. I did another survey. Where is the most optimistic young generation youth in the world? And number one, most optimistic youth is also Indonesia. So it means you, yeah, you're very optimistic. And also another survey that we are very proud of the result is Indonesia is number one in survey of generosity index. So the most generous society in the world score number one is Indonesia. So we are giving society. But also we have some negative issue. Yeah. The most hostile internet netizen in Asia Pacific. Number one is Indonesian netizen. Yeah. You look nice now in person, but when you return to your laptops and mobile phone, make comments, you're very hostile. Also in ASEAN, yeah, even though our economy GDP is number one, but our IQ ranking from 11 countries, we are number 10. So we have to work very hard to increase the human capital quality of Indonesia. That's jobs also in our future leaders. So the reason I got elected as a mayor, also as a governor, it's because of the bless of democracy. So I'm the product of Indonesian democracy. Indonesian democracy is a populist democracy, one man, one vote. Yeah. It is open to anybody who got liked by the people enter the politics. That's why popularity is still the number one reason people voted their leaders. There are 3 doors in Indonesian democracy to get elected as a leader. Number one, you have to be the member of political party. Second is you are fully independent, yeah, nominated by a certain percentage of people. But in reality, from the second group, let's get elected. And the third door is like me. I'm still today independent person, but nominated by party. Anies Baswedan also independent, nominated by party. Ibu Khofifah, the governor of East Java, also the same, independent, nominated by party. So this is the reason my existence because of this populist democracy. But to all students from Indonesia, we have to think also very deeply whether our democracy is the right choice, our type of democracy. As you know, we are trying to copy American democracy, but we localize with our local value. So, for example, in Aceh, there are local parties. Only in Aceh exist. Cannot be copied in other provinces. In Yogyakarta, the governor is the sultan forever until he died. So there is no governor election in Yogyakarta. In Papua, the democracy is up to the chief tribal leader. Okay? If the tribal leader says we vote for this person, hundreds of members of the tribe will follow the choice of his tribe leader. So Indonesian democracy, local value, more or less, that's what we see. Now, West Java is having around 50 million people. Indonesia is the country with the highest number of active volcanoes in the world. So therefore, the issue of eruptions happen regularly, earthquake, seismic, volcanic earthquakes happening, including the one that happened last week in Cianjur. It's also happened 20 years ago, slightly different locations. So the similar earthquake happened in 1980, the year 2000, and also the year 2022. As a leader now, I have to make sure this 20% of Indonesia can proceed to success. One thing that I do is what I like to say. I believe the best leadership is leadership by example. Because as a leader, you are perceived to be perfect in the way you look, in the way you talk, in the way you make decisions and many things. It's not easy. So for student who wants to be a leader, make sure you have to be perceived as a perfect person. I'm also leading the West Java, Indonesia in the digital era. So my leadership is really revolutionized by the digital ecosystem that's happening in Indonesia. Therefore, my vision as a mayor and a governor, I focus mainly on how digital change the public policy. So this is relevant to Harris School of Public Policy. So in West Java, I use digital to change many things in West Java. I started in West Java creating a blueprint called Digital West Java. Empowering the people, educating the people, and also changing the economy using the digital. I have two projects, one smart city for urban and a digital village for what we call it rural. So I fight corruption also using digital. I invented a working unit called Jabar Digital Service. It's West Java Digital Service. I employ 40 strong young individuals to work for me. So I pay them like private sector salary. So they work for me and changing everything in West Java related to bureaucracy. They created apps, one problem, one apps, 1,000 problem, 1,000 apps. So we won award during COVID. One of the best managed COVID situation in Indonesia was West Java. We were appreciated by United Nations and also WHO because we have super apps for managing COVID, from data, controlling the vaccine, registering as a volunteer, and everything related to digital. Because of this, we have so many progress in West Java. For example, in rural digital village, now we use IoT to change the economy of the village. If you go to West Java, now we have the new culture of feeding the fish using mobile phone, for example. Before you have to physically walk around the fish pond just to throw your fish food. But now, this fisherman just press your mobile phone and the sensor of IoT connected and many container of food fish projected to the pond. Yeah. So this is changing the productivity of my people. I installed in every village also a digital center. So many rural people now can live in rural but connected to e-commerce anywhere in Indonesia. You feed the chicken using mobile phone now. We have fish finder apps. So in Pelabuhan Ratu, ocean fishermen no longer looking for fish using manual, but they have apps that transforming the changing color of ocean into the data. If you change the color of ocean, the computer will translate there is a plankton happening around the area, so it means more fish. So this data by satellite informed to the mobile phone of the fisherman, and the fisherman every morning use the data to go specifically to area for catching the fish. So this is the example how I use digital in West Java economy, especially in rural. In last March, we also inaugurated 1,200 millennial farmers. Yeah. So it's an urban student like you. So I invited them to go to rural. I lend them the land, I lend them the money, I buy the products. So now we have the new future in West Java that people can work from anywhere. People can work from the village, but making urban income. Bahasa Indonesianya tinggal di desa, rezeki kota, bisnisnya mendunia. So because of the COVID, we are forced to work at home. We are forced to work anywhere and still be productive. So we are using this concept to invite young generation to live in rural but making urban income. Because currently in Indonesia, people think you have to move to Jakarta, the capital, you have to move to Bandung, the capital, to make money. But now I'm reversing this concept because of digital connectivity, that you can live anywhere, work anywhere, but making a city income. So hopefully this is will change the face of Indonesia. By doing so, I'm happy to report to you. When I was governor starting 2018, the number of underdeveloped village is around 1,000. Jadi ada 1,000 desa tertinggal, sangat tertinggal. So 2022, I declare no more underdeveloped village in West Java. After 4 years of digital economy, from 1,000 underdeveloped village, now 0 underdeveloped village. And because of this also, the last 2 years, we were awarded as the best performing bureaucracy in Indonesia. Because using digital to fight corruption, using digital for serving public. So that's what's happening in West Java related to the digital revolutions. And also we are now focusing on what we call post-COVID West Java. So what happened in the world after COVID? So as a leader, I had to pave the way, the vision for my people. So I created a 7 strategy for West Java. Number 1, I'm creating 30 new towns to keep West Java as the number 1 industrial province in Indonesia. As you know, 60% of industry in Indonesia located in West Java. We are perceived as the most comprehensive infrastructure province in West Java, including the high-speed train. The first in ASEAN will be located in West Java. Second strategy of our economy is food security. You know, Russian and Ukraine war, even though the war is far away from Indonesia, but it creates a disruption to our food supply chains. So we are rethinking, can Indonesia with fertile land, many unused land also, create a strategy to fulfill their own needs of food security. Number 3 is healthcare revolutions. COVID taught us that Indonesia is not really well prepared for COVID as any country in the world. Only Indonesia, military and police, even the CIA of Indonesia have been helping the vaccine, door to door in the fields. So without military police, I don't think Indonesia survived the COVID. So that also exposed the weakness of Indonesian healthcare. The ratio of hospital puskesmas is very low. Therefore, as a governor now, I come to Chicago also to find any investor related to healthcare to build at least 20 to 30 hospitals in West Java to fill the gap. Number 4 is the 4.0 manufacturing, because as the most industrial province in Indonesia, we need to keep up with the global standard of 4.0 technology. Number 5, digital economy, as I explained to you. Number 6 is a green economy. Number 7 is what we call it regional tourism. In green economy, I come to Chicago also to find a company that can have a joint project for renewable energy. You have to be very proud as an Indonesian. I tell you why. Stanford University did some research that Indonesia in 2050 could be 100% renewable energy. They counted the number of solar, water, geothermal, and wind. Indonesia will produce at least 400 gigawatts potential energy from renewable energy, electricity from renewable energy. And 300 million of Indonesians will consume only half of these 400 gigawatts. Okay? So the remaining 200 gigawatts will be exported to the world forever. The reason why we're not reaching this situation is political, because the issue of fossil fuel business is still happening, the lobby from the oil and gas corporation is still happening. So the challenge is not about the resources, the challenge is about how we have a convention to really focus. So hopefully your generation will push this agenda faster. Joe Biden pledged $20 billion for green energy funds. So I'm coming here also to connect this commitment with maybe Chicago company coming to West Java. As you know, West Java is the biggest reserve in geothermal. 2 months from now, I have a project finished with my new company. It's a Bitcoin Society of America. They will connect with my renewable energy power. So the Bitcoin mining need green energy, and West Java providing this green energy. So American company and West Java will have a project. So we start small. So wait for the news. Yeah, 2 months from now, you will see the news that American company starting Bitcoin mining using green energy from West Java. So this is a good news, yeah, related to this new economy, complete economy. And lastly is about tourism. We are visited by 40 million regional tourists in West Java. West Java is different with Bali. Bali focusing on foreign tourists. That's why during COVID, Bali got hit the lowest, yeah, because rely too much in one type of economy, which is international tourism. When the airline got stopped, everything stopped. But West Java, 14 million regional tourists, so not rely too much on airplane. Yeah, and now we are witnessing the invention of new type of tourism, like what we call it glampings instead of brick and mortar hotels. Concert now very popular in Indonesia because people are missing the crowd economy of having entertainment like concert. Blackpink in March, like next year, in 1 week is already sold out, the ticket. So from the dangdutan in the village to the Blackpink size of concert is always sold out. So to close the introductions, basically as a leader, I have to have a clear vision to my people. I've been a leader for 9 years. As a leader in this time, I'm focusing on digital revolution to fix my bureaucracy, okay? To be proactive, to be transparent, to be scientific in how I make decisions. That's why I have a slogan: good data, good decision; bad data, bad decision; no data, no decision. So I'm making this culture of good data to create a good decision for all the leaders. And political-wise, 2024, the new presidential election. Whoever get elected, I'm hoping Indonesia will be peaceful and also united, yeah? Because the last 2 elections created a separation deeply in the grassroots of Indonesia today. And I'm hoping also, because Indonesia is a country with too many elections. We have 80,000 elections because presidential election, parliament elections, governor elections, city mayors, region, and also village chief, also around 80,000 village chief also get elections. So we are a democratic country with Indonesian style, but we have also to rethinking whether democracy is really serving our nation's goals, adil makmur. Because if you contemplate, yes, we are number 16, G20, biggest economy, but if you count it per capita, we still left behind in ASEAN. Okay? We are only $4,000 per capita. Malaysia is already 10,000, China already 10,000 US dollar, Korea 30,000, Japan 40,000, Singapore 60,000 US dollar per capita. While Indonesia, our country, is still 40,000. So it's up to some of you yeah, the public policy student, maybe you work in government institution or maybe in political system. Let's keep up our progress, our quality achievement, but also some bad things, badges we need to fix also. I think more or less that is the introduction, yeah, of what's happening in West Java, what's happening in our economy, what's happening also in our situation, social politics in digital era. I said to my team, we need to be working very hard, not because we need to have an award. It's because working hard, quality working is necessity. It's our purpose. So the last 4 years, West Java government received 450 awards of everything, including the best bureaucracy in government unit in Indonesia, the best investment performance, and many more. So hopefully, if Ridwan Kamil can become leader, all of you here, more or less similar background. I was a diaspora in the US for 5 years. I was working as a professional architect for many years. So when I turned to politics, my mindset is still the same. Yeah, I try to solve problem in the as fast as possible. Yeah. I try to be transparent. I try to be connected with people. By the way, I have 19.5 million followers in my Instagram. so when I was visiting Stockholm, the foreign minister of Sweden introduced me like this. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ridwan Kamil, the governor of Java, whose Instagram follower is more than our population. Because Sweden is only having 10 million population, and my follower in Instagram is 90. So that's more or less, yeah, the introduction of happening with Java. Very happy to discuss your concern, your critics about Indonesia, about West Java, because this is campus, I think we need open-minded and critical thinking. Thank you very much, Santono.
Well, that was a rare conversation with a political figure. I think we usually get much less substance, but I think you're all about substance, and you're a pragmatist. It really shows. I'm going to open with a few questions that have been fed through me, and then we'll open it up to your questions from the floor. You mentioned one of your goals is to improve the healthcare infrastructure in West Java. But can we talk a little bit first about public health, the kind of preventative health in West Java? Before people are sick, how to keep them healthy. And I noticed that one of the big projects in West Java is a drinking water project and a wastewater project. Until today, Indonesia has not delivered clean drinking water to the home. But it's very low-hanging fruit as far as public health goes. You could extend the average life expectancy of Indonesia by about 12 years with clean water to the home. And it seems like West Java is taking the lead in this, and I was just wondering if you could go through the reasoning for this and what is the potential to have clean water in longer lives for the people of West Java.
Yes, this is my argument, yeah. I don't think people in Indonesia, in West Java, not having a clean water, because they need clean water to survive as a human, so they drink clean water every day. The problem is, the clean water they are having is not the service from the government. Majority are buying from private sector. Majority are accessing illegal water resources. So my first argument is all of my people are having clean water to drink for many things. But how they buy is not the issue. So therefore, the ratio of clean water access by government service is my responsibility. We are building the last 4 years almost 6 water dams. Even next month, President Mr. Jokowi will inaugurate the 2 big dams in Bogor. First for water resource, clean water, also to prevent the floods to Jakarta. So I think we are working very hard to increase the ratio that clean water access by government services increase. And also we having the data that poor people pay more for clean water. So this is something we need to fix also. This is a good news. Yeah, I think the story of this is very important. Before 2017, there is one river in West Java labeled as the dirtiest river in the world, called Sungai Citarum. Okay? So President Jokowi released a decree that in 7 years the water must be clean. So as a governor, I was appointed as the leader of this task force. Okay? So we're using military again. Yeah, in Indonesian style, military is doing whatever by the order of the nation. We're using the police, we're using the military, we're using the district attorney to prosecute the illegal dumping from the industry. So in the year 3, the water quality of the river from the heavily polluted river now is light polluted river. So I'm very optimistic in the next 3 to 4 years, the so-called dirtiest river in the world now can be clean, hopefully like in Chicago, for example. So I got applaud for this effort in 3 years. Therefore, President asked me to present this achievement in COP26 in Glasgow. So the appreciation from the UN is, wow, the success comes from collaboration, gotong royong. So the gotong royong concept, I call it pentahelix collaboration, ABCGM, academic, business, community, government, media, is the key to solving crisis in Indonesia. That's my point. Okay? So wherever Indonesia has a crisis, multidimensional crisis, this gotong royong concept, pentahelix collaboration, I think is very Indonesian style, to make things work better.
But you need the political skills to make that work.
Yes, that's true. That's why I was appointed as a leader, because I have the power to command people. The most expensive thing coming from the leader is political will.
I mean, one traditional problem with Indonesian governance is that local governments extract rents and hold up projects. And it's sometimes better to be the last locality to agree to a project rather than the first, because you have more bargaining power. But for big projects like this, you have to go across jurisdictions. Do you have any advice on strategies for these policymakers on how to build across jurisdictions?
Yes, it's not easy. Including as a governor, I voted by people. I have 27 mayors and region also voted by people. So when I have a meeting, I'm not the superior. They said, governor, you voted by the people. I also mayor voted by the people. You're not my boss. Yeah. So I'm using a very cultural way of coordinating with this political leader. So every 3 months we gather in West Java. I created a new culture, kopi darat yang namanya. Jadi ngumpul. So we solve one problem at a time every 3 months. So with some respect. Yeah. So I try to be same level with city mayor, even though I'm a governor. So that's how I successfully coordinate. I remember, during COVID in other provinces, the governor got conflict with city mayor. Because the government thinking we should do COVID like this, and the city mayor, no, I have our own system to fight COVID. But that's not happening in West Java because we have these 3 months regular meeting, city mayor, governor, to make the same frequency and handling everything. So the key is communications and try to be humble.
Do you think being a more independent politician is an asset or a challenge against the party system?
I think the production of leaders should be from party, yeah. But Indonesia is a young country of democracy, in my opinion. Why is still a young country of democracy? Because every 5 years the regulation change. Yeah, so it means we are not reaching the final model of what kind of democracy Indonesia should have. For example, yeah, when I was a city mayor, I don't have to leave my job as a lecturer at ITB, Indonesian University. So I just say letter of sabbatical. Okay, so I did sabbatical from ITB. I entered as a mayor. But 2018 changed. Whoever wants to become a political leader must resign from any post. So I resigned as a lecturer from my beloved university just to become a governor. It's a destiny that I have to make. Yeah. And many things, yeah, including the presidential threshold, including many regulations. In my opinion, we are still new and young to democracy. We are still finding the right model of democracy. Is it American democracy is a final model? I don't think it's fit to Indonesian context. For example, you have we are one man, one vote, popular vote democracy. You have different not popular vote as a final voting. So I think, and also we are thinking why in China is not democracy, but their prosperity is higher, for example. So we need to rethink the future of Indonesia related to this democracy.
As a planner, and as a mayor and as a governor, one of the big issues you have to deal with is density and the rise of the megacity. This presents a lot of challenges, which are already big challenges in West Java, such as urban slums, waste removal. We mentioned the public health challenges and everything. Do you think there's a kind of comprehensive approach that can help deal with the density?
Yes, I think I spoke that point before. The reason why Jakarta is too crowded, the reason why Bandung is too crowded is because of economic disparity. So the income you make in the 3 hours area from Jakarta or 3 hours area from Bandung is great. Okay? So people, the mindset over the year is, if you want to make money, you have to go to city. Okay? Migration. So now I create a series of development concept that you can make Bandung money, you can make Jakarta money, but still located in your village. What I did is I created this digital economy. Yeah. So I'm happy to report to you now. Before I became a governor, access to internet is only 50%.
15?
50. Now almost 100%. Okay. This number one in access, digital access. I prove it with the concept of millennial farmers. Millennial farmers, I invented this concept 2 years ago. Millennial is the age of millennial. So I said to them, look, instead of your fighting to find a better money, let's go back to rural. I lend you a land. I lend you the money because I have a bank. And whatever you produce in the village, I'll buy it because I have the food company. So 3,000 registered as millennial farmer. but only 1,200 I inaugurated as an alumni. I inaugurated them with one condition. If you make urban money, then you pass. If you still make village money, you have to work very hard to fix your business and working model. So 1,200 now happy young generation live in rural, making Jakarta money. Some making bigger. They sell meat to Philippines, but living in rural area. They're selling the quality organic vegetable and sell it to Singapore, while physically they're not in Jakarta or in Bandung. So this is the future. With digital knowledge, with digital access, you can work anywhere. You can work from home. You can seize the economic opportunity. Living in rural means you are away from disease, because COVID is urban disease. As a governor, it's confirmed. COVID happened to be in the agglomeration of megalopolis, in Jakarta area, in Bandung area. Outside these two group of cities, COVID is very low. It's very low. So I think my conclusion is to stop the migration to urban, to stop the Islamization, because of this. I try to convince the nations, let's work away from the city, but educate yourself with digital knowledge, because by digital you surpass the block mindset thinking that you cannot making a good money. So this millennial farmers hopefully become the national concept for this young generation.
Well, that sounds like a really powerful idea, and also very attractive to the urban millennial foodie.
So this one, for example, this is a series of fish pond using just one mobile phone. You can feed the fish without physically you have to go outside. You just doing, and the food production double. Because before, when there is a rainy season, you stay at home, you can go out. But now, rain or no rain, you can just press your mobile phone and still product. So this is the mindset that I'm building to my young generation.
Here's a question that came from one of the students. Because of the terrible earthquake, there had to be a lot of public resources moved in order to help people. Does this suggest a new kind of government services that will be good even after the earthquake? Will there be things to learn from the earthquake that can help good government?
Yes, I met the governor from Shizuoka, Japan. He said to me, Mr. Ridwan, Shizuoka in Japan has many earthquakes, in the history of Japan. And Shizuoka in Japan, they need 50 years to come to this condition of resilient culture. So Japan, advanced society, needs 50 years to get to this point. So what I learned is, I'm actually 2019, 1 year after I became a governor, I created a UN standard resilience blueprint. I call it West Java Resilient Culture Province. There are 7 strategies: education, budgeting, infrastructure, blah blah blah. 7. But this is still new. As I start to educate my people, earthquakes come day by day basis. For example, so Cianjur, for example, hit by earthquake last Monday. The next 7 days, we're witnessing 180 other earthquakes following, but smaller scale. Okay? So in a year, could be like 1,000 movement, because Indonesia, as I said, is in the ring fire of volcano, also continental fault that created tsunami in Aceh, for example. So my point is, as a leader, I leave a legacy of building the blueprint of resilient culture. But it's not easy because while I'm educating the society, the earthquake is still happening in weekly or monthly or daily basis. So when I return from this, my job is to responsible to 100,000 refugees that I have to house. As an architect also, I'm building the new education for my people to have the earthquake resistant construction. Yeah. I'm so sorry to say sometimes when you educate people about the potential crisis, they always say what crisis? We are living happily, so it's a government. Do not nakut-nakut itu.
Don't be so afraid.
Don't make us so afraid about the future crisis. Okay. They change the mindset after they got hit. Yeah. So sometimes it's not easy to educate general public unless they got hit by the crisis, so they understand what my point is. So this is the dynamic of the situation today.
In the early stages after the Aceh tsunami, the rehabilitation also used some digital strategies to minimize corruption in the rebuilding, keeping tracks of materials and so on. Do you see potential for the digital infrastructure you put in place to minimize corruption and improve standards for the rebuilding of West Java?
No, I fight corruption at every level. I created a policy to fight corruption. I created a scientific working environment using digital. Coba tampilkan yang itu 9 box. Yang 9 box. Oh itu ya, yang 10 dulu. So this is my concept of how using digital will help West Java. It proven in the fourth year we are the best performing bureaucracy in Indonesia, West Java. Because before so many manual activity now become water technology, before very costly. Yeah. For example, with manual culture, we need to have 800 civil servants working in the flow of development. Using digital, I dismiss 400 people. So I move these 400 people to more dynamic assignment instead of just tedious routine inputting data because of this manual. Inaccessible, now we are awarded the most open government, number 1, and the score is very high. It's very transparent. You can access my data, my activity, my budget, anything. Before very top down, now we can have complaint online. We can see the aspiration of people online without meeting. I have an apps that I can connect to 1,000 of village chief reporting to the government. Slow service, now very fast. You can pay tax, for example, anywhere in West Java using digital or go to Kmart or a mini market, for example. And the last one is fighting corruption, now clean by design. Coba tampilkan yang 9 box. So this is what happened in West Java. Every day, one bureaucrat got evaluated 360 degrees by the supervisor above, by the colleagues horizontal, and by the staff below. So X horizontal, we evaluated your capacity, smart or not smart, yeah. You have the knowledge or not knowledge, you are the right person on the job or not. Vertical is your integrity got evaluated. It's your performance got evaluated, everything. So if you happen to be evaluated in the box number 1, so it means you are stupid and low integrity. If you're in the box number 9, it means you are smart, high integrity, productive. So West Java, after 4 years, all my staff now happen to be in the 9, 7, some 5, some 6. So every time I have an opening to bureaucracy charge, just close my eyes, just pick anyone in the box number 9. Yeah? Whoever I pick, the computer will suggest you are picking the right person because it's already in the box. Before this invention, every time I have an opening, some politician, party, important people call me. Say, Governor, I have a view. And you know, blah blah blah, yeah, you become your best staff. And it created a very corrupt and incompetent system. With this, I said to this scholar, okay, you can recommend your nephew as long as your nephew within the box number 9, for example.
Yeah.
So now this is being copied everywhere in Indonesia, and this is the good system digitally to create a best performing democracy and fighting corruption.
Well, anybody here looking for a master's topic? That's a very good one. Thank you for walking us through that. Let's open it up for questions from you all. Yeah. Introduce yourself and what you're studying and what year you are, and maybe what university.
Sampurasun kalian kapan panjang asli Barat. I would like to speak to you in English, like we speak English in the first section. So I'm a Master of Public Policy student in the University of Chicago. So my question is that you mentioned about democracy in the country, and some people say that democracy in Indonesia is a disaster. As you can see that it's been years since Indonesia is polarized between so-called conservatives and so-called nationalists. And my question is that, what's your take on this? And my second question is that, what should we do as the future leaders in Indonesia to prevent polarized nation in the future? And I think that this is the most important question. Are you going to be presidential candidate?
Okay. It's very tough and easy question. You have to understand the history of Indonesia, yeah? Before the colonial time, Indonesia consists of hundreds of kingdoms, small, medium, and big kingdoms, okay? So during the hours, the night before the independence proclamation, Bung Hatta, the founding father, asked Sukarno, what is the definition of Indonesia? That tomorrow we have to declare independence. So Sukarno said, the definition of Indonesia is because we are united by the same destiny, because we are occupied by the Dutch, that's it. Okay. That's why Timor-Leste decided not to be part of Indonesia, because their argument is Timor-Leste was not occupied by the Dutch. Okay? Timor-Leste was occupied by Portuguese. So that's one historical fact. So we are coming from hundreds of different cultures, languages, and we decided that Indonesian language rooted from Malay, okay, in Sumatra. Even though I'm Sundanese, I speak my own mother tongue, but as a national level, I speak Bahasa. Second, because we are so different, we have 5 religions, we have hundreds of languages, okay, ethnicity. So we created what we call the value ideology of Indonesia, Pancasila, 5 principles. President Sukarno went to Congress in Washington DC. You can YouTube this. Okay. This is Sukarno's words of Pancasila. Number 1, believe in God, ketuhanan yang Maha Esa. So therefore, Indonesian perceived religious is because we are religious. Okay? So we summarize our religious culture into a philosophy called belief in God. Second, humanity. Ya. Kemanusiaan yang ada. Third, Soekarno said nationalism. Ya. United to be one Indonesia. Before in 1948, if I'm not mistaken, we tried to be like US, federal nations. But at the end, we come back to NKRI. Number 4 in Pancasila is democracy. Okay. If we can solve problem by talking, musyawarah, that's very Indonesian. We don't like voting. Voting is very Western. Okay. See Muhammadiyah, one of the biggest Muslim organizations, how they vote for the leader. First, they vote for 90 leaders among themselves. Then they go down to 30 something. In the final round, they go to 13 candidates. At the end, the 13 candidates must talk to one another to decide who becomes the leader. And that's Indonesian sila keempat, musyawarah Indonesian democracy. Number 5 is social justice. What's the difference between American capitalist system and economy? In my opinion, your economy in America, the rich got very rich, the poor get poor. Yeah. But in Indonesia, we have Pancasila economy. So it means you are okay to be rich, but the poor cannot be left behind. Okay? You have the sodakoh in our religious Islam. Yeah? We have so many things of social security. One thing very striking in US is, even though Indonesia is considered a developing country, if you go to Indonesia, you will not see so many homeless. So sorry to say. But then I go to San Francisco, I go even to Honolulu one time, I go to DC, homeless is in America is everywhere. So maybe we have the social justice still. So if your question is how can we create a political system that not polarizing the people like we have in now, is just focus to Pancasila. Yeah. So what's my position? If I'm too right, I'm very Islamist, right? Or in the Western case, I'm very Christian. If I'm too left, I'm very socialist. Yeah. But socialist without religion, people perceive as a communist. My position is in the middle. I love Bung Karno. I built Bung Karno statue many places. I speak Bung Karno speech, Trisakti. Okay. But also I'm a Muslim. I'm now managing 8 madrasah. My grandfather was an ulama. Okay. Fighting for republics. Got jailed by the Dutch because with Muslim students fighting for revolution, for example. So therefore, my position is in the middle. For me, the middle is the definition of Pancasila. Not too much to the right, not too much to the left. But Indonesia politics today, yes, is a bit too far to the right and too far to the left. And they creating this tension. So hopefully 2024 we can reunite this too much to the right and too much to the left with voting to Ridwan Kamil. Okay? I can be accepted from the left, I can also be accepted from the right. So that's my identity. I went to UGM, okay? 2 candidates of president from UGM, Pak Anies Baswedan and Pak Ganjar, okay? Pak Anies alumni of UGM, Pak Ganjar also alumni of UGM. I said to him, look, instead of you are fighting, yeah, and make UGM broken because of this Ganjar of Anies alumni, let's vote in the I will unite all UGM alumni. No conflict. Because I'm ITB alumni.
That's wonderful. Reminds me of another connection. The province of Java, I mean, in West Java owns the Priyangar Hotel, Hotel Priyangar, and right, you can almost see it. There's a house in Hyde Park designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, the Chicago architect. The architect of the Priyangar Hotel, which I guess you are, because you're the governor, you're the CEO of the hotel, came to the United States to meet Frank Lloyd Wright, designed a lot of buildings, like Chicago buildings in Indonesia, especially in Bandung. Returned to teach at ITB, where Sukarno was his student. This
So many
so many connections.
I tell you the history a bit, yeah. So during early 1900, no jobs in Europe. Yeah. So many architects went to colonial nation like us, Indonesia, and in early 1910, 1920, the rise of modern architecture and also the rise of what we call Art Deco style. So this global movement of art influenced Frank Lloyd Wright, also influenced many European architects. So therefore, I see so many connections. And you have to understand, Bandung, my capital, is the fourth largest Art Deco city in the world, after Miami, Florida. So I think, yes, we have many connections. So today I learned the history. The first Indonesian coming to US is West Java, from Sukabumi.
Right. So we have to build on those connections. Another question, yeah. Here, right here. Yeah.
My name is Lynn Ridwan, and it's really nice to meet you in person finally. I'm a PhD student in Islamic Studies at the previous school here. The building is right there. My question is about cultural reform. To an extent, and some of you might disagree with me here, that in Indonesian society suffers from inferiority complex, and you can see it from in a number of spectrums. One of which would be like everything imported is considered of better quality. In architecture as well, like Victorian architecture is considered more cool, or in architecture of mosque, we can see so many mosques in Indonesia in recent years are built under the architecture or just like planting from architectures in the Middle East without the work of rethinking, reappropriating. I'm wondering whether you see this as an issue, and I would like to hear your opinion about this. Thank you so much.
It's like PhD exam. Different professor. As I said before, okay, Indonesia was founded coming from so many different factors. 5 different religions: Muslim, Christians, Hindus, Buddha, different cultures, ethnicities. Japanese tend to be very subtle, yeah. Like Pak Jokowi, yeah. He likes to create a symbolic speech. The future Indonesian president must have white hair and some wrinkle. So yesterday my wife told me, when you return, change your hair too. So that's Indonesia. So it means our classic problem, our classic Indonesian problem is always about unity. If you see now, there is a buzzer, yeah? It's always about mafia. If you are to the right, you will be labeled Kadrun, Kadal Guru. If you are to the left, you will be labeled Cemong. Yeah. So, for some reason, people familiar with this issue of creating attention also, including the issue how to change the mindset that everything coming from Middle East we always consider holy. If you look like Arabs, yeah, wearing gamis, wearing the long dress, people tend to see him as a religious person. Even though he's just a martial person, a Bekasi person. But the way he dresses looks like an ulama. Because there is a Arabic person got arrested, yeah, because the looks like ulama, but his job is actually a thief in Bekasi. Also, but certainly you are bule, right? If you're Caucasian, people perceive that you are smarter, you are wealthier, you are superpower and many. So this is also the challenge of you, okay? The most valuable thing is your personality. But it's the reality of the world. When I first time come to US, I tried to get a job in New York, in Manhattan. I got rejected 3 times. This is one of the most hurting comments I received when I applied for a job in Manhattan. What's your name? Ridwan. Where are you from? Indonesia. Graduate from ITB. ITB is #1, okay? But in New York, no. Ridwan, I cannot accept you. Only Harvard, MIT, and Columbia can work in my firm. But when I graduated from UC Berkeley, okay, people suddenly like, oh, you're from UC, okay, working for me, blah blah blah. So that's the reality also, okay? Yeah, people still have this kind of view who you are, judging with the identity that you have. I'm an architect. I said to them, okay, to people, look, there is no Islamic guidelines how to create or design a mosque. No one verses in Quran say the mosque must have a dome. Okay? The dome already started in the Roman gods in Pantheon. The dome also happening in many churches in Russia. It's all dome. But Indonesian public today see the dome, many mosques in the form of dome in Middle East. So every time they want to build a mosque in Indonesia, they said, "What's the dome?" Because without the dome, it's no mosque. With dome, it's mosque. So they sell domes on the street, metal domes, because wherever building that is metal dome, you can label as mosque. So I find this concept as an architect. This is a mosque, non-design work, green design. This is calligraphic, yeah, it's Arabic, but in the form of ventilation. So 1,000 people pray, no need aircon. Coba tampilkan yang masjid. This is I just inaugurated last week. It's a mosque in Palestine, Gaza. So Palestine people asked me to design the mosque demolished by Israel. So we gather money from Indonesian donators, 20 billion rupiah is finished. And also, it's a beautiful, yeah? Some netizen, the most hostile netizen, Mr. Ridwan, this is look like PlayStation 5. You're designing a mosque? Are you serious? The most moving tone, you are designing a big scale PlayStation 5. Then I learned, yeah, people will translate physical object according to the culture. If you play the games every day in your life, of course you will translate this as your PS5. Someday, Ridwan, this looks like a three codes, fashion codes, yeah. But actually, it's a 3 crescents that I designed. Hablum minallah, relation to God. Hablum minanas, relation to people. And hablum minal alam, relation to the environment. And this is my project with SOM, Chicago, Bradley.
Oh, yeah.
So this is my imagination, graphic. This is Bradley SOM design. Coba ada masjid yang Jawa Barat nggak? So, to answer your questions, I try to educate the people with modern thinking. That's what I like. I remember you should see this. I got judged by ulama. Okay? I got judged. Thousands of people gathering trying to judge me. Okay? They said, this is what they said. The design from Ridwan Kamil representing the Dajjal. Okay? Because Dajjal is like the king of the Satan. Okay? It's not. So they see, they call me Illuminati. Just because I designed a mosque with triangle with a circle on top. Right? So this is Illuminati, so it means very good. It's Illuminati. So they still having the symbolic things as a belief. This one. Because of my design like this, it says I'm the member of Illuminati. So I have to educate in front of 1,000 people. Look, Bapak Ibu, this is not triangle, okay? Triangle has a pointed in every single. That one, not pointed. It's trapezium. Then I said, if you go to the mosque in Medina, near the tomb of Muhammad, you will see the Imam making a sermon with the shape of triangle and circle on top. So my point is, I deal with this mentality of physical form into philosophy every day. And as a reader, I have tough jobs to educate my people. So that's more or less what's happening.
At lunch, I showed you the picture of the very first mosque in the United States. Can anyone guess who built the first mosque in the United States? Yeah, Campo. Very first one. It was also the first mosque in the United States to have snow.
Masih gitu, masih Jawa Barat, Gede Bage. So next month I will inaugurate, officiated the Great Mosque of West Java. So I designed myself this one. Okay. Boleh itu, atau ini aja boleh. Ya, ini juga boleh. So if you return to Bandung, say in January, this already built. No, no. My argument is, this is, remember that the height of Islam is mathematics, Jabar, algebra. So this is a form of A, 2A, 4A, 10A. Jadi rumus matematika kira-kira.
Do you have an interior? Do you have a picture of the interior?
Still under construction. But this will be the biggest mosque in West Java. So, because I remember Soekarno, this is very important. When you have become a political leader, you need to leave the legacy of physical object as your political manifestation. Okay? Why Bung Karno built Hotel Indonesia, Semanggi, Senayan Stadium? Because Bung Karno wanted to prove that even though we are just a young nation after independence, we could be also modern by showing the world we can build the biggest stadium, the biggest hotel, and so on and so on. So I learned this architecture political of Bung Karno. So as a mayor, as a governor, yes, I increased the index of healthcare, the index of education, but also as a leader, I have to leave behind my legacy of physical objects in the form of mosque, because majority Muslim, in the form of alun-alun, yeah, the main square, in the form of whatever building. So that's exciting projects next month.
Well, we said we would stop at 4. It's too bad we could go all night. I think this is really wonderful. One more, so why don't we take one more question?
I think yeah.
Yeah, can we extend half an hour? Anything? Do we have the room?
Nice to meet you. I'm Yuya Hashimoto, and I'm a student of computer science and public policy of the University of Chicago. I'm coming from the Ministry of Agriculture in Japan, and I'm interested in digitalization in agriculture. I've been impressed with your talk about millennial farmers and fish farmers. And could you talk more about the digitalization in agriculture? I mean, are there any other digital technologies introduced in the field of agriculture, and your future work for the digitalization in agriculture?
Thank you. The President Jokowi invited me for one event and asked me like this: Mr. Governor, after the energy crisis post-COVID, there will be a food crisis. Please do something to make sure our people can have enough food within our system. Okay? So President Jokowi created what they call food estate, yeah, in Kalimantan. But since I'm the West Java governor, of course I'm focused. So first what I do, I take over the land that permit given to big company. They got the permit, but they do nothing. I said, look, you're taking over 1,000 hectares of land by my permit, and you do nothing. You just want to sell the permit to make money. So now I take back this permit of 1,000 of hectares. So I chop it into small scale. So I give it to millennial farmers, 1 hectare. I give it to pesantren, Islamic school, 10 hectares. Yeah. So I created a very socialistic kind of approach. Instead of making rich one company, it's better make it rich 1,000 of my people. Okay. So that's one option. Second, coba ada itu nggak yang Al-Ittifaq? Ada. Second, I created a projects because in Indonesian culture, Islamic school mostly happen in rural. Okay? So I created a project, one Islamic school, one business. I'm very proud to say, after 4 years as a governor, I created 2,800 business. Yeah, it's a big numbers. Majority of the business is agriculture. So the Islamic school, they act as a hub of taking as an off-taker of surrounding farmers. So they create this digital supermarket. Okay. In this case, they name Alif Mart. In Arabic, Alif means one. Mart is supermarket. And this is very modern. Yeah. Instead of selling to the wet market dirty, they make it like in Japan, very disciplined. And they sell it online. So during COVID, many Islamic schools asking money for me. Mr. Governor, I'm very hit by the COVID, give me more money to support my existence. This particular Islamic school, they said, Governor, I don't need your money to make good money. Because we're selling online, people stop physically coming to the market, my business booming because people order from my business agriculture more. So, first, by policy, I take over big land, give it back to society. Second, I equip the knowledge of digital hub. Yeah. The third one, I created AgriTech. It's a series of apps. The one that I show you is fish. This one, sorry, yang barusan. This one is an app from Korea to find the fish on the ocean using the satellite. Yeah. So you translate the changing color of oceans as a plankton rich area. Then in the morning, this coordinates sent to the fishermen. So every day, instead of manually looking for fish, they're using the coordinate specifically to the specific spot, and they double the catchment. Ada nggak yang pakai drone kemarin? So now also we are using drones to spray the fertilizer instead of just using walking manually. Now we can cover 10 times more area and 10 times faster. So in 4 years, I'm really educating my people that food security is number one, but let's change the game of how we produce. And hopefully by this, in years to come, we can independent in food supply, as President asked me, but I'm go fully to technology. So hopefully also if Japan has some invention in agri-tech, I'm more than happy to buy, to shop, to learn from those. Arigato.
I'm always astonished how incredibly fertile the land of Java is and how productive a small farm can be.
Because of volcano eruption.
I mean, compared to Sumatra, for example, which is much less. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Assalamualaikum, Ridwan Kamil. My name is Rafi from the law school. I'm doing my master's at the law school of Chicago. One question, you mentioned earlier that in every 5 or 10 years, the policy might change due to the newly elected leaders. For the case of West Java, knowing that you all have these fancy and innovative programs, is there anything you can do to make sure that at least some of these programs can be continued by the successors? Or is there any channel or way to do such thing, and what can Indonesia do better to address this policy changing thing? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a bad habit of our political system. Every time the leader changes, okay, they always want to dump the previous leader program and create a new slogan. And it's happening in Bandung. I thought after I left Bandung as a mayor, become governor, Bandung will progressing, okay, following all my legacy. It's not. Bandung now is going backward. Okay, no development of new public space. No, so many people disappointed. So I learned the hard way. One, I must invest in my succession. That's the lesson learned. So say I'm a governor, 1 year to go. I might go to national. I don't know whether presidential candidate or vice president is really a tough answer. But if that's happened, I'm all the way fighting for this. But I'm thinking because of your question and my Bandung experience, I'm really thinking very hard. Will be replacing me as a governor of this digital thing or blah 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 blah. Okay? So I'm making two gestures. Number one, creating governor policy and law to make sure some of my invention like the bureaucracy reform is in place by the decree. So by decree it means you have to follow. It's not Ridwan Kamil is a governor of West Java regulation. Okay. Second is I'm working really hard to find successor, and when I find the right person, I will groom them to make sure they understand and they're popular. They will get elected and they will follow, continue very appreciative leader. When I won the best province for financial management, central government reward us with an award called WTP. Yeah. WTP means that our financial management in our government is considered the best. So, my speech is like this. I received this award, thank you very much, but I dedicated this award to my previous governor, my predecessor, Ahmad Heriawan, different party, my political enemy. But I tried to build a new culture that the next leader might appreciate, okay? Logically, if the award come from his hard work, I just come to power only 1 year, I get the award. It's not my work, it's Pak. So I mentioned him. And my political team said, Pak Ridwan, why you mention him? You should glorify your award, that this is in your time. So I said, I'm a rational leader. If I work very hard, I want the award, yes. But I know this is coming from predecessor work, so I have to appreciate and mention his name. So hopefully, hopefully, all the leaders will do this culture of appreciating. One example. If I work for SB1, I would not become the political party leader. Because if you are ex-president and still handling the party, you become also, you will create an automatic haters, right? Because when you are in the political party, you will have a different ideology hating your party. So if I were like Pak SBY, I will follow the footsteps of Pak Habib, becoming a neutral ex-president. So people will love the ex-president, okay? But now, because of this decision, okay, you see the conflicting comment, yeah? They try to find Pak SBY weakness or hambalang lah, apalah, apa. So I learned it's not a healthy situation where you dismiss, you disregard the previous leader's work and saying that you are in charge and you are the success of your regime. So I'm hoping the next president after Pak Jokowi will respect Pak Jokowi instead of stopping or disregarding his achievement. So we need to create this culture. I start with mine. So hopefully in the national level also we respect the previous leader. Because previous leader paved the way certain size of achievement. The next leader just continuing with certain size of achievement, right? So it's not all the achievement coming from your time, it's also an agglomeration of achievement of previous leader. So that's why I don't like the culture of disregarding, disrespecting the previous leader. So hopefully not happening in your time. One last question. Oh, we have 4 more. Yeah, we have 4:30.
Thank you. My name is Panji. I'm the first year of the students, and in Harrison we learned about how to make evidence-based policy, and instead of that, Bandung and West Java use the evidence-based policy to make the policy, and I believe that not my administration in Indonesia has been done. But I just wanted to ask you that what's the recipe for you to start the evidence-based policy, and what is your challenge? Because we in Harris we learn about that, and I hope to return to this, I can implement it in Indonesia for this. Thank you.
As I said before, I have so many dimensions in my life. Yeah. First, I was a lecturer in ITB, Architecture Urban Design. So my mindset is always scientific. Second, I was a civil society activist. I created 3 community. Yeah, I have so many roles in my life. Okay, lecturer, okay. Architects, forming 3 social civil society movement. Yeah, I play in 15 movies. Jalan Kitchen, Rodam, Mayor Bandung, so and so. So, as I said before, to create the situations of what we have today, we need to come up with multi-dimensional approach, yeah, to evidence base. During COVID, this is what I did. I created a value before we start off handling COVID of so many things. I created 4 values, I said to the team. Number 1, you must be proactive team with me. Do not wait for central government to inform what to do. West Java was the first province to buy the antigen test, PCR test. I called the ambassador of Korea. I sent him to Korea. Other province waiting for Jokowi to supply the PCR test. West Java no, because we apply first principles, be practical. Second, we have to be scientific, evidence-based. I do not make decision without data. That's why during COVID I collected 12 experts, public health experts, statistic experts, many experts. Every couple days we have a meeting, then I have conclusion, then I report to public. Ladies and gentlemen, like for you. This week, COVID, my decision of this as this is based on such and such data. Third one is transparent. Good news, I say good news, bad news, I say bad news, because during crisis, public tends to not believe the government. They think government is covering up data, covering up real data. Fourth one is innovative. So I asked the airplane industry to produce the oxygen ventilator. I told the CEO, look, in normal time we produce airplanes. This is crisis time, stop it first, and you produce your engineer ventilator oxygen. They produce it. And the last value is collaboration. That fighting COVID is not depend on government action, but it's up to people also. So my point is, evidence-based is my value, and it need to become the everyday's value. That's why I have a T-shirt that says good data, good decision. Bad data, bad decision. No data, no decision. So that's my answer. Next, we have 10 minutes. Oh, to all the person that asking the question, I have the cap head.
Siapa?
Tolong dibagikan. With letter RK. It will be very expensive in 2021. Siapa yang tanya-tanya, ajukan tangan atau pisang.
Thank you, Kang Emil. My name is Aji. I studied biomedical forensics here in Indonesia. I'm one of your 19 million followers. So, yeah, I've been following you since your TEDx talk, even before you became a major to that. I think that's and yeah, I really like your view, or like, yeah, this is very, it's like the data acquisition. I'd like to ask about this actually. Can you share some of the challenges that you face to obtain the data? Because I think this is, even here, it's a challenge. And can you share some of the endeavors that you have taken to overcome these challenges? And still pertaining to this, can you also share about change management? Because I have an experience in Indonesia where when I try to kind of change something to a digital thing, and these are with people who has been on their work for a very long time doing things manually, it's been very hard to make them to do this digital transition. So do you have some experience on how to kind of push the change in the digital?
Yeah, I experienced this the hard way. During COVID time again, I have to give money, social security money, to people affected by COVID. So I received the data, but I don't believe the data. I have a hunch the data is not correct, and my hunch is true. I have to clean up 23 times to make sure the data is clean, the people are the right person, right address. Because when I check, dead people are still on the list, okay, and many. So if I just believe that data, then I will give money to the grave. People before poor now got rich, also still the data. That's why you see the news. Mr. Governor, why you give COVID money to people who has 3 floors of houses? Because during the survey a couple of years ago, that 3-floor house owner was poor on the list. So bad data still happening. So what I'm doing is I always created a very professional data collector. Remember Cianjur, I have to fix these 100,000 refugees here and fix their home. So now I'm using a similar concept. I'm creating the army of data collector to make sure heavily damaged, 25 million, medium damage, heavily damaged will be given 50 million, middle damage, mid-size damage, 25, light damage, 10 million. So I don't really believe if the data was collected by unknown, uncredentialed team. So yes, we receive data. The problem in Indonesia is every ministry, they created a project of data. Yeah. Social ministry created a data project. Desa, rural ministry survey the data. And at the end, the data is not. So it means now I just focus on using my own data collector team to make sure my data is correct. COVID lesson learned, Cianjur also in action. So second question, apa tadi?
Change management.
Yeah, change management. It's very difficult to answer, yeah, because in Indonesian democracy now, people with no ability of leadership, people with no capacity of leadership can still be elected because he or she is popular. And this is true. 500 bupati wali kota, mayors and treasurer. Every time we have an award ceremony, I meet always the same leaders. Burisma from Surabaya, Pak Azbarana from Banyuwangi, all of them. So it means leaders that have a mindset of change is not really many. That's my point. So our democracy is the popular democracy. So to be elected in Indonesia election, you don't have to be smart, you just be likable. You can change yourself to a clown and people happy, people will vote for you. So this is the dark side of democracy. Okay? The other dark side of democracy is the tyranny of majority. That's why building a church in Indonesia is very difficult because there is a regulation. You need to permit 23 of your neighbor to agree to form your religious building. And since the majority of the surrounding is different religion, many places are different. Not only church, mosque in in Christian heavily populated population also similar issues. So this is also, as I said, our democracy need to be re-evaluated and perfected in such a way we created a model of Indonesian society that are much better. Topi udah? Pak Jeffrey angkat tangan karena tahu ada topi. Pak, tolong kasih dulu Pak Jeffrey satu, baru pilih warna apa.
Nanti foto. You want to ask a question? Yeah, I'll just speak up. So you said that there were three pathways, politically, right? And one of the third one you mentioned was you're popular, but you also have the backing of a party, right? Which means that they need you in order for the party to reach its goals. I'm wondering whether you've proven that that works at the level of mayor and it works at the level of governor, but it hasn't been tested at the level of president, vice president. And the question is it really possible to be part of a pasangan of president, vice president, if you are not a figure from a party? In other words, is there a glass ceiling that cannot be broken up? And if the answer to that is there's a ceiling, are you willing to become a party member? Why or why not?
As I said before, yeah, 3 doors to be elected as leader in Indonesia democracy. One, you are member of political party nominated by party. Second is fully independent, but cases shows less elected. Third is my case, Ani's case, independent but nominated by. In national level, I believe different. Okay? That's why I'm in the final mode to enter as a political party member, because I don't think independent nominated by party will have a strong support if you are number one. But if you're number two, you have that option. Kiai Maruf Amin is not a member. Presiden Jokowi, PDI, PDIP, right? Maruf Amin is not member. I'll tell you also this story. That at the end of the day, the coalition who become number one, number two will be decided usually last minute. Rumor said that Jokowi chose Pak Mahfud MD to be his vice president. But at the end of the process, all the coalition thinking, oh, if Pak Mahfud become the vice president, the following 5 years, this vice president will become very strong, and we don't like that. So the last minute, they change the hours, the counting of hours to Pak Mahfud. So a figure of right, ulama, filling the gap with Pak Jokowi to take the Muslim voters, old enough not to be a threat for future elections, and not a political party member. So I'm saying the case is already there. But for my case, I think I decided I need a backup with 2 reasons. One, for national level. Second, my second term as a governor, I need to be part of political party, because you see all my speech here, it's not 100% successful. I'm explaining only 60%, 40% that rejected by parliament. So, because I'm independent, I don't have really a backup strongly in the parliament. So imagine if I'm a political party member, get a strong coalition, I think I can be more successful and handling my job. But now, similar case in Bandung also, people maybe see, oh, Ridwan Kamil okay doing as a city mayor, but I tell you, all my achievement in City of Bandung also around 60 to 70%, 30% that rejected by Parliament, and I don't have a backup to push my agenda. So I think which political party, more or less similar to what you read in the always. Thank you very much, everyone.
Well, you'll all be watching the news. Thank you very much. That was a really wonderful afternoon. You may end up teaching here when you're too old to be a political threat. Hang around, mill around, whatever. But thank you everyone for coming, and thanks for allowing me to be part of this program.
Then I have a batik, because you are wearing batik of West Java. As a governor and architect, I design many things. Yeah, I support SMEs, not just promoting. So I promote 2 products every day in my Instagram store. Yeah. Second, as a designer, I accepted the request from SME. Ridwan, please design a shoes, design a helmet, design a batik, and claim it Ridwan Kamil edition, just to support. So I designed a batik for this company, batik hopefully fits to you. And this is a leader philosophy part. If you see diagonal in Indonesian style, it means for leaders. And this is Garuda Kujang Kencana, Garuda Holding Kujang, West Java Wimpy. And this is Arcade. Ridwan Kamil. Can we have a photo with people asking questions?